I said to Brian that I considered 350 to be just as important as 360, only because it is a round number, and
Yeah.
therefore it's psychological. So that we were bouncing up against 350. We actually penetrated 350 a couple of times, but couldn't stay above it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a relatively wide technical zone from 350 to 365.
Okay.
It's a descending channel top thing that's happening there. And also there's some a lateral thing where if you go to the left of it, there's something at 265 as well. So getting over 265 would be good. That would
360,
open up.
365, 365.
Sorry, 365.
Yes,
365 would
please,
be good.
please,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't want to go back to 265, at least not
No,
yet.
no.
No, no.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
If I'm popping back a whole month or something like that. I mean,
yes, it's just a month. Amazing
yeah.
what a month, what a difference a month makes.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this 350 range then.
Yeah.
And if we break above 365, then it's all bets are off.
425 or something.
Yeah, 425.
No, 425 is the level there. It's not a particularly strong
Okay.
level
Mhm.
to go with, but there is volume to be traded at there. But we've been able to blast through that. Like it was the old top around four, whatever, 408, 410, and we went to 48, right? So the old top and then the new top.
Right, right, right.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so basically at this point we need both the risk on, although is on right now, right? I mean, we're getting very close to complete risk on. We've got the VIX back down to 17. We've got the fear greed readings are way up in the greed side. So I mean, we've obviously had a tremendous amount of good news. I mean, a massive macro, especially macro news is really huge until this Moody's thing. Uh, how much more good news can we stand? I mean,
Well, we're pretty certain that, according to Kevin Hassett, one of Trump's economic team guys, he's saying that there's about like 24 deals, other countries ready to follow China. And there needs to be, because the 90-day pause
yeah,
was what it was for the rest of the world, right? So there was 90-day pause for the rest of the world, and now the 90-day pause for China. China started 50 days later or something like that, right? Only this week is
right.
their 90 days clock start. And it can always extend. You can say, okay,
Of course.
90 days, we're going to extend, we're talking, everything's good. There's no reason you have it there as Trump does as a negotiating thing
Yes.
of like, hey, we need to focus up and get this stuff done, right? So in those 24 other countries, I'm sure they're not counting, you know, small African countries or something like that. They only care about the big guys,
Yes,
right?
18,
So
18.
so that
Yep.
yeah, so that would be, your Canada, your Mexico, Japan, Korea, they're bigger
Right.
countries that would be potentially having a deal. And then I think currently we're thinking that Europe would be the toughest one, but then people thought, I thought that China would be the toughest one, and China was not the toughest one. So who, decides to come forward with the deal? But they're going to announce each one separately.
Hmm.
So then you expect on the order of 3 to 6 deals per week to start being announced, right? Vietnam, India, that kind of stuff. You could get, the steady stream of good news on that.
So the only other piece of bad news today, and this could be maybe it's the real reason the markets are down as opposed to the Moody's situation, and that is that the Republican House did not move the bill. They did not move the big, beautiful bill
Hmm.
onto the floor. The committee
Hmm.
is still hassling and working on that. They did have a vote, an additional congressman who was going to vote yes, vote no on purpose, so they could table the resolution as opposed to outright killing it. That's my last understanding. So they're saying they're going to work all weekend on it and then resubmit hopefully resubmit on Monday with some revisions. The big holdup seems to be the very same thing that that Moody's would appreciate, and that would be the major holder, the guys who are holding up the bill seem to be hawks. They all want more reductions and sooner reductions in spending than the rest of the Congress, the rest of the committee seemed ready to give. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, I think there are people who want more, and of course, there's also the two or three who just aren't really on board with Republican program at all. So, but in terms of like the exact count, I haven't been tracking because you don't know like who's really on board, who's not, what actual vote happens. But the Republicans as a whole, need to pass stuff. So, no matter how much grandstanding you want to do, ultimately they must do it. So I'm sure just like people have said about the United States, they'll do every other alternative until they have to do the right thing, So
It'll be like any other negotiation. The
right.
sausage making isn't fun, but that could have been part of the reason why the market is sold off here on a Friday.
I wouldn't think that should, the fact that they're delayed
Yeah,
and the fact that, things have to totally blow up for it to
yeah,
actually, I think, the fact that they're slow and incompetent, like why that surprise,
it's not a shock. Already
Yeah.
baked in, right?
Right.
Okay, and then now, of course, the other thing was I did notice that Bret Baier was interviewing President Trump just as we started this program, and so who knows what might have been said in that interview. Although Bret Baier is a very careful interviewer, as good as he is, as solid and intellectually gifted as he is in asking the questions, it seems like it's rare that he actually uses a gotcha or something like that. So unless Trump wanted to announce something that might have caused the market to have a problem, I doubt whether it was because of Brett's uh, the Brett method of
Right.
yeah, yeah.